Stock market today analysis for April 4th, 2023. There's a link to ihavesuccess.com in the description below this video. Easy to remember URL, ihavesuccess.com. You don't really need a link, but if you want a link, there is one. Check it out. It'll help you learn to sell cash-secured put options on stocks you'd be happy to own. If you don't know which stocks you'd be happy to own, check out this YouTube playlist. The 5th video on there will give you help you out with that. Also, 2 of these 4 downloads will help you figure out some stocks that a way to determine which stocks you'd be happy to own. You can access the free stuff here from that main page. You can go under free stuff. There's also some paid one-on-one consulting. And at the 1 minute mark, a video is going to pop up here that will give you 5 reasons why you should do this if you're not doing anything else. Boom, you just saw it right there. I put it at the 1 minute mark so it's easy for you to remember. You can go through and watch this video and then come back and watch that one. Check out any of these tabs here. And let's get into looking at yesterday that had the ISM manufacturing PMI came out. Today the JOLTS job openings, and tomorrow we got and these, there was more things. Obviously I'm pointing out these red ones, which are expected to have a high impact, and we'll have a variety of things that are expected to have a high impact. And with this JOLTS job openings today, I don't know how much of that influenced a lot of this red here on the heat map. We also had almost 70% of the stocks declining. We're a little under about 2.5% below 70% of hitting all-time new lows, and a little over 60% are under the 50-day moving average, and over half, not much over half, but 55% of stocks are below their 200-day moving average. Anything Asian equities decline after U.S. rally hits wall. Lawmakers warn Hollywood, Silicon Valley on China ties. Shocker, shocker, shocker. I'm being sarcastic with that. If it's a shocker for you, maybe you and I haven't been studying the same thing for the last 8 or 9 years. Let's see. This is probably an ad right here. What is that? Even though I might have been studying a little bit on macroeconomics, I definitely have not been studying pronunciation. Farol Capital to wage proxy battle at biotech firm. No, not a shocker that it's a trickle down as far as attitudes and the ways to do things. So if the governments perform proxy battles, of course that's a quote unquote leadership. Not very good. I guess in this case they're the government's leading by example. All right, so what else do we have going on here? We're going to see parts of the economy break. Recession fears move back to the forefront of the markets. Bank of China deputy governor, whatever that guy's name is or girl's name is or whatever the pronoun is, to leave at the end of July. Does it sound like a bunch of great stuff? I think some people are getting on TV or YouTube or wherever, and they're saying everything's great, everything's great. So take a lot of things with a grain of salt. Remember the whole Robert Kiyosaki thing. There's 3 sides to a coin: heads, tails, and the edge. Your job is to stand on the edge and make the best decision for yourself. So just because a bunch of talking heads say everything's great, and then there's a bunch of these crappy headlines that come out, but just because there's a bunch of crappy headlines, does that mean it's true? I don't know. That's why you got to stand on the edge and figure things out. But even if things are crappy or not crappy, you can probably still sell some cash secured put options on stocks you wouldn't mind owning, put yourself in a better situation. We're looking at some futures right now. VIX futures kind of going down. This is these 4 right here are futures for the main indices of the stock market. S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000. And I just want to look at where the new candle is opening in relationship to the old one. Bitcoin kind of moving sideways. Is it pushing up? It's like, I think it's in debatable territory. This one was pretty clear as far as kind of a line here in this wedge right here. Boom, shot up from the top. Maybe it was yesterday. I might have been talking about that. We had a big bull candle here on silver too, even though that didn't really make a wedge. It doesn't necessarily need to make one, but sometimes it does. Several months ago now, maybe, gold was making that wedge. It shot up through the top. Silver was making that wedge, and it didn't shoot up for the top. So we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. We'll see what happens with these three. Natural gas still going down. Oil gapped up here and just kind of moving sideways. Not a shocker, because if we were to look back past 1 month of data on this daily chart, we'd see that 80, 82, 81, somewhere in there has kind of been a pretty big resistance point. And the 10-year treasury, futures of the 10-year treasury continue to go down. General markets. What I consider the general markets, I'm definitely not a professional, so if someone says, no, that's not right, well, that might not be right, but, oh well. We looked at these three already. TLT via the 20-year treasury bonds via TLT, just kind of moving along this 200-day moving average, which is kind of an arbitrary number, 200-day. From my understanding, the 200-day is basically kind of represents the year, but when this stuff came about, they, being whoever they were back, whatever, 50, 70, 100 years ago, I'm not sure, but I guess they just used the 200-day because it was a lot easier to calculate and graph on these, hand graph on these charts. So it's a bit of an arbitrary number, but everybody watches it. So the fact that even if it is arbitrary, enough people are reacting to it, so it just seems to be floating around there. Dollar continuing to move down. VIX kind of continuing to move down too. Seems to be a lot of complacency in the market, which is interesting. And we had all the indices on a downward day today, but in relationship to where they are, we're over this only at 1 month, so I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but it looks like it was potentially a pivot point. Might have hit some resistance right there. So we're over that. This is closing still in the top 50%, maybe even the top 35% of this bull candle here. Not so much over here at the Dow Jones. It's closing in the bottom 50%, but close to the halfway mark. And with the NASDAQ, same thing. We're battling this 50% mark and just close below that bull candle over here on the Russell 2000. Don't be surprised if you see a bit of a drop. Don't be surprised if you see sideways. Don't be surprised if you see things go higher, right? So there's only 3 ways it can go. Don't be surprised to see any of them. It looks just like by looking at a 1 month chart on the daily time frame, it looks like we're kind of hitting some resistance at the moment. Seems to be running out of steam over here on healthcare after it broke above that sideways 200-day moving average, sideways to slightly up, sideways to slightly up, sideways to slightly down, I guess. Sideways, more downish, sideways. Just by taking a quick look, we see the trend overall has been sideways. No shocker if you've been watching some of these videos. Over here, we're hit a new month, a new high for the last, 20, 30 days of trading. And my apologies. Whew, I just got done weightlifting about an hour ago, and I haven't taken my nap yet. So I'm going to power through this and then get some sleep. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen. Are we going to start running out of steam on this, or is it going to continue to blast strong? And for the S&P 500, it's still the same thing. We got to see what's going to happen through to get up here to the 420, and then what happens going up, especially from 420 to 430. Apple. Is it hitting some sort of peak, or is it going to go further? We thought it was hitting the peak here, wondered, and it went up $5 more. If we look at this bigger, longer time frame, 1 year, we look to the left. All right, a little bit of resistance, but it's been blasting through this resistance. I have to see what happens at the 175 mark. And then Microsoft, we see maybe hitting the top. When it was maybe hitting tops here, it went higher. Amazon, all right, nothing looking, not too much out of the ordinary. We really got to see it past this 105 mark decisively. Like it did, it passed it decisively and then fell back down. Meta, all right, maybe running out of steam, but look, it was running out of steam right here and went further. You know, just because you're taking a rest after you sprint doesn't mean you can't sprint again. And Google, which gets put in here twice, let's see what's going to happen. Not surprising that it might be running out of steam right in there. Berkshire Hathaway, still kind of in this sideways range. Tesla, not getting above the 200 today. Nvidia, basically for the yesterday, just wiped out yesterday's gains, but still could go higher. JP Morgan Chase seems to be establishing this new sideways pattern that's bouncing, maybe bouncing back and forth from around the 200-day moving average up to about 130. Let's see if it keeps that. Now, Berkshire Hathaway and JP Morgan Chase are the only two stocks that are in the top 10 of the S&P 500, but not in the top 10 of the triple Qs, the NASDAQ. We see it's hitting this high on the Qs. Switch over to a year. If it keeps going, we really got to see if it can get past this last, I guess it's not the last pivot point, but this big pivot point right here, right around that 330 mark. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Tesla, Google again, Nvidia. Right, we already looked at those. PayPal. Let's move this over to 6 months. PayPal is just kind of in this range from about 72.50 to about 77.55. And Adobe, see if it can get past this 390-ish area there. And the diamonds, Dow Jones, looks like it might be, let's see what's going to happen through this 335 to 340. The United Health Group gapped up yesterday, still in the top kind of 35 roughly percent of yesterday's big bull candle. Is it going to hit some support or resistance right here at 500 and kind of peter out? It'll be interesting to see. Wouldn't be surprised. And Goldman Sachs looks like it's pivoted right around this 330 area. Home Depot back up at the top of its range, but not breaking past that 300-ish 200-day moving average. We already looked at Microsoft. Again, they like to, they being whoever they are that put these top 10 holdings together, they like to double them up. Salesforce still looking strong. I mean, these candles right here, sure, it's not going up, but in relationship to everything else, it's still pretty strong. Right over here, it kind of went sideways and continue to go up, and we're still pretty close to this 6-month high of 200. McDonald's breaking past this range. It was in this trading range. I was even considering selling a Iron Condor with the high on the call side being, I don't know, somewhere around 280, 285. For one reason or another, I didn't pull the trigger on that trade. And seems like it's a good thing that I abstained from that because my call side would be coming in jeopardy. And Honeywell is still attempting to make this run to get on the other side of the 200-day moving average, but at the moment not successful with that. Verizon getting back up to the higher end of its sideways range that it's been in for a bit. Amgen having more success to getting up to that to the little bull run here, trying to get up to that 200-day moving average, but still on the bottom side of that. And Boeing is in the sideways range. And let's finish this off with looking through the Russell 2000, which really sold off today. So I would imagine that most of the stocks that we see in the top 10 are going to be selling off. Look at that. No surprise. I don't really even know why they would have crappy stock like AMC in there, but they do. Okay, trying to hit the top and trying to get past that 200-day moving average for Shockwave. Biohaven moving sideways here for a while, and probably don't be surprised if it stays sideways because it's in this range where it's probably having a hard time getting above this 15. And Intelia is continuing to just kind of go down. Crocs at the high end of this range that's been trading in. Chart Industries. Chart is it's kind of in not to the low. It's kind of in the middle of this range that it's been in. This is kind of the most extreme of it. It's kind of been more kind of in here. I guess it's a little bit to the. Depends where you're taking that range from. If you're taking it from here to here, then that's still kind of lower towards the bottom. Karuna, it still kind of continues to slowly move down range bound with a lot of volatility. And Apelios gapped up. Look at that. Still after yesterday. Reached a new 6-month high today. So my friends, I gotta take a nap. I apologize. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. We're still looking to see what's going to happen. Is how close can the S&P 500 get up to 420? If it goes past it, how does it behave when it goes from 420 to 430 and 430 to 440? Does it get close and go the opposite direction like it did, or what's going to happen? If you don't want to worry about that stuff as much, something really very user friendly. There's some moving parts to it. You got to learn how to do it. Selling cash secured put options on stocks you wouldn't mind owning takes a little more than just knowing how to sell a put option. You got to be able to do a little bit of fundamental analysis to be able to pick out some companies that more than likely statistically should be around longer than you are alive. Speaking of alive, I gotta go to the dreamland and visit there for a while. Okay, aloha.